Hi, this is Kim Speedy from 10 Sigma. Welcome to episode 70 of Transition Tuesday. Today I'll be talking about writing comprehensive present levels of academic and functional performance. This is the second video of a three-part series of connecting the pieces of putting the transition plan together. Right now I'm going to switch over to a short slide presentation to share this information.
In last week's episode 69, age-appropriate transition assessments were discussed. In this week's video, we will examine how to use the results from the assessments to write comprehensive present levels of academic achievement and functional performance. To get started, let's first talk about what is a PLAAPF. A PLAAPF statement is a snapshot of the student at a certain time and location. PLAAPFs describe the student's strengths and weaknesses for academic skills and functional skills, and the student's interests and preferences. PLAAPFs can include information about the student in the following areas: academic, communication, functional, general intelligence, health, motor or physical, sensory, such as vision and hearing, social, emotional, and behavioral, and transition to post-secondary adult living. In essence, it's all the data from the age-appropriate transition assessments that have been done with and about the student. When writing the PLAAPF statement, keep in mind that the information needs to be relevant, meaning it's directly related to the student's needs and disability. It needs to be objective, having neutral language. It needs to be measurable, so the statements in the PLAAPF should be backed up with tangible evidence, which means data-driven. The present level needs to be understandable, so refrain from using jargon. It should be easy for anyone to read and understand. And the information needs to be current, so do not rely on information solely from 3-year reevaluations, especially if this is not the student's reevaluation year. PLAAPF statements need to include the input of the parents and/or guardians. They should also include the student's input. They must address how the student's disability affects the student's involvement and progress in the general education curriculum, and they should include current data. Before I get into a well-written PLAAPF example, I do want to mention that this example may seem longer than it is, for 3 reasons. First, it is a comprehensive present level, meaning it has not been broken into specific areas for each goal. Second, it is on a PowerPoint, and in order for you to be able to read along, I had to make the font size a little bit bigger. And third, as we move along, I will be pointing out the age-appropriate assessments that were used to write this PLAAPF and the required information, such as parent input and how the student's disability affects the student's involvement and progress in the general education curriculum, etc. So having said that, let's get started. Dorian is a 15-year-old 9th grade student with autism. His team met on 4/6/2017 for his annual IEP meeting. Using observational data, general interest inventories, and information provided by his parents, he enjoys walking, music, and cats. This is an introduction, but it includes his disability area, and that through age-appropriate assessments such as observation and interest inventories, as well as parent input, what the student generally likes. Dorian is well liked by his peers. He is greeted in the halls, and peers often volunteer to tutor or assist him. Dorian volunteers in the library 2 times a week, helping with shelving books. When asked, he says he likes this job, and according to a work preferences inventory, he wants to do something similar after high school. He would like to take college classes in library science. In this paragraph, there is another age-appropriate transition assessment that has been given to the student, a work preferences inventory, and it also talks about his current volunteer work at the library. This information is important in developing Dorian's employment and training and education post-secondary goals, as well as providing student input. The next paragraph reads, district testing shows Dorian's reading, decoding, and math computation skills are above grade level. Dorian participates in the general education curriculum for all core subject areas. He can decode high school level text, but has difficulty with comprehension. On average, given a 5-paragraph passage, he can correctly answer 1 or 2 out of 10 comprehension questions. When asked to read aloud and prompted to attend to the punctuation, his comprehension increases slightly to 30 or 40%. This part of the present level shows relevant, measurable, and current information on Dorian's academic skills. The next paragraph reads, Dorian's IEP team also completed a TRACS transition survey to help develop annual transition goals, needed services, and activities for Dorian. Each member indicated Dorian's strengths and or needs in 7 different skill concepts, including workplace skills and attitudes, responsibility, interacting with others, computer and internet, basic academic skills, habits of wellness, and planning for success. The following information is the results of Dorian's survey. Dorian's strengths are showing a desire to work, maintaining positive relationships, working well with coworkers, and math calculation. His needs are in the areas of being organized, reading effectively, being in control of emotions, advocating for self, doing household chores, and accessing community resources. This again is an age-appropriate transition assessment that specifically focuses on Dorian's transition skills or life skills, strengths, and needs. The next paragraph goes on to say that Dorian's parents have expressed concerns that Dorian reads quickly and does not understand what he reads. They are also concerned about his social interactions in unfamiliar settings and report when Dorian is anxious in these settings, he will engage in self-stimulating behaviors by rocking back and forth or flapping his hands. They plan on having Dorian work with a private behavior therapist this summer. For now, his parents anticipate he will live at home after high school to continue working on performing household tasks independently. They would like to see him take a home economics class next school year. This paragraph is the parent input section, which is required in the present levels of academic achievement and functional performance. Dorian has difficulty with time management and keeping material organized without external supports. To help him stay organized, Dorian uses an assignment notebook, graphic organizers, and keeps all materials in his individual classrooms. Dorian needs daily support from staff to make sure these materials are kept up to date. Dorian's teachers work with peer mentors who sit next to him so they can provide him with natural supports for academic, social, organizational skills, and for following along with classroom activities. This helps him remain on task, organized, and focused on classroom discussion. Currently, Dorian can follow 1- and 2-step directions without natural supports, but needs cues and supports to follow 3- and 4-step directions. This section of the present level explains Dorian's current and specific functional performance, as well as the supports he is currently using. Dorian has difficulty reading body language, social cues, and distinguishing facial features. Dorian is involved in a social skills curriculum. In structured practice situations, he is currently able to identify the correct social cue or feeling 50% of the time. In less structured and real-life situations, Dorian has more difficulty correctly identifying the appropriate cue or feeling, succeeding in 1 out of 4 attempts, which is 25% of the time. Dorian is currently learning to regulate himself through the use of a sensory diet. He uses sensory toys throughout the day, in every class, and at the library. This paragraph describes Dorian's current and specific social performance. It also describes the current supports he uses. The job coach who works with Dorian in the library noted on the 10 Sigma rubric for controlling behaviors, Dorian can recognize different environments for his self-stimulation behaviors, but can only use a replacement behavior in 2 out of 5 trials. Dorian will accept cues from staff to replace behaviors. This paragraph describes ongoing transition assessment for Dorian's behaviors and his current level of functioning in this area. Autism impacts Dorian's ability to make progress in the general education curriculum when it manifests by delaying his ability to comprehend written material, which delays his academic progress. It also impacts his ability to function in academic and community settings by raising his anxiety because he is unable to accurately read social cues and will respond with self-stimulating behaviors. This paragraph addresses how the student's disability affects his involvement and progress in the general education curriculum, which is a required component of the PLAAPF statement. In next week's video, episode 71, I will explain how to take this example PLAAPF and put it into other components of the IEP, specifically annual goals, transition services, courses of study, and of course, the student's post-secondary goals. To summarize this video, the PLAAPF needs to accurately describe the effect of the student's disability on their academic achievement and functional performance. It needs to include current data from age-appropriate assessments. The PLAAPF needs to be written in objective and measurable terms. It needs to include parent input and student input. It needs to have a direct relationship to all other IEP components, and it needs to address how the student's disability affects their involvement and progress in the general education curriculum. For today's bonus, I'll be sending you links to resources and information on writing present levels of academic achievement and functional performance.
Thank you for watching the video. I hope you use this information to write complete, comprehensive present levels from the information you gathered from the students' age-appropriate transition assessments. Be sure to check your email for the bonus we just sent over. If this is the first time you've ever seen an episode of Transition Tuesday, click the link below to receive the bonus. Be sure to like and share the video and leave a comment for a future episode of Transition Tuesday. Have a great week. See you next Tuesday.